Bismillahirrahmanirrahim.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Veronica Rollins, and welcome to my channel, Islamic Lifestyles, where I coach new Muslims, converts, reverts, shahadas on how to become practicing Muslims. I am here today, and I have a guest who will be joining me. We are actually in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico, and you will come to know how we ended up in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico at the end of this video. As you may recall, in my last video, I talked about how it took me the better part of 30 years to become a practicing Muslim to the point where I felt I should be. Of course, I'm constantly learning new things, growing in the religion, but it was an on and off journey where I was down in valleys, where I climbed my way up to hills, and where I plateaued. So, as you know, I left Tacoma, Washington, and moved to the U.S. Virgin Islands. But when I returned to Tacoma, I returned as a different person than I left. I was involved in the religion much more than when I originally left, about 17 years prior. So today, my sister and I are going to discuss our journey after my return to Tacoma, Washington.
Before we get into our discussion, I would like to highlight two issues. The first is on family relationships. Dr. Yasakadi, in his Q&A video, Maintaining Relations with Non-Muslim Family Members, explains how Muslims can have the highest level of closeness or the lowest level, which would be to treat them with fairness. See Surah 16, verse 90. The second is on praying for non-Muslims. Norman Ali Khan explains the context of Surah 9, verse 113 in his video, Can We Pray for Non-Muslims, on Quran Weekly, and Mufta Mink in his video, Can I Pray for a Non-Muslim, on his channel, Mufta Mink, in which he describes how Muslims can pray for guidance, blessings, protection, and health for their living relatives.
This is my sister, Vanessa. She has been a practicing Christian her whole life. And I just want to thank you for coming on my channel today and welcome you. So I thought it was important to do this video because there are a lot of new Muslims that do not have family members that are Muslim or do not have friends that are Muslims. And it can sometimes be difficult to work with your family and have a cohesive relationship. So we're going to take a little time today to talk about how we got to this point. So welcome, Vanessa.
Thank you.
So when I returned to Tacoma, I recall having a conversation that was pretty intense. I don't know if you recall that conversation, but what were your impressions of me when I first returned?
Obviously, you're my sister, so I was happy that you came back to the States, and it was, an opportunity I felt for us to renew that bond that we had when we were we were growing up and in high school and after getting married, and so I was excited. And maybe a little surprised because I don't remember if you were wearing a hijab at that time.
I was not. I was not. That was an evolution in St. Thomas.
Yeah. So my initial thoughts were, it's great, my sister's back on the West Coast. And so I was excited about the opportunity to reconnect and be, kind of relive that, how we were when we were growing up, the closeness that we had.
Right. And I guess when I returned, I might have been a little overzealous in my religion. I was really starting to engage in a religion, and I had learned a lot. And I recall just like spouting everything I knew, and so I felt like I was maybe being overly aggressive about the religion. Did you feel that?
Um, yeah, I think that's with everything, especially with religion, because it's very, everyone has their opinion, right?
True.
And you want to embrace your beliefs, and you want to share your beliefs, and maybe your viewpoint is not the same as somebody else's viewpoint, especially similar to what you're saying. You didn't grow up being Muslim, so you just have this heightened feeling of, I guess, exuberance, and me personally, for my religious journey, of course, always growing up in the church. Mom always took us to church, so that was a different. I had a different knowledge of it as opposed to at the time when you came back to Washington, because I had gotten more involved and really was learning more, because at that period of time, I think I had read the Bible completely and had a lot of newfound knowledge, and so you sharing yours and me sharing ours, I think maybe we got heated a couple times. So.
I think it did. In fact, I recall a discussion we had. I recall it being more about who was right and who was wrong versus just sharing knowledge. And, as a Muslim, I think often when we learn something in the Quran or in Hadith, we tend to believe it's the right answer. And it may not always play well with other people of different religions when we're trying to say that what we're saying is right and what they're saying is wrong, rather than just share knowledge and grow from each other.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think, to me, being Christian and having the belief that it's the Trinity, you don't want someone to discount that belief, right? And then you have your beliefs, and you're very strong and passionate about what your beliefs are, and not wanting to get into a religious war with each other.
Right, and I think that as Muslims, Christians, Jews discuss religion, the focus really should be on our similarities, because we are all from the Abrahamic religion. And so we have a lot of similarities as believers versus believers and non-believers. And as you said, we all have our passion about what we believe. But I still think we can have a good conversation with our individual beliefs. And as we say in Islam, only God knows, so we'll find out in the end. But one other time I recall us talking, it was a phone conversation, and shortly after we started the conversation, I believe you said to me, "Well, I pray for you." I don't know if you recall that, but
Well, I pray for you every night.
I know you do, and I pray for you every night. But that was a point, a turning point for me. So, as my sister said, I pray for you. I in turn said, well, I pray for you too, in the sense that, I want her to go to heaven just as much as I want myself to go to heaven. And at that point, I realized, we are believers. we do believe in God. We've grown up in a religious family, and we both have grown in our religions, and so we, God willing, will both go to heaven. And so that was eye-opening to me, in that uh, I'm not trying to convince you to be Muslim, and I don't believe you're trying to convince me to be Christian. But now we have a relationship where we both understand each other's religion a little bit more. I mean, I have the Bible, and I have had the Bible, and I read the Bible along with the Quran. And as you recall, I gave you a Quran so that you could look at the Quran, look at passages in the Quran. So I think we are at a different point in our relationship and in our individual religions.
I agree. I think we accept each other's similarities, right? We accept each other's differences, and we kind of know at what point to pause.
Exactly.
But we, I think over the years we've had the opportunity to share. I read a scripture or a parable, and I've shared it with you and asked you what you thought, and then ironically, just a few days later, you're telling me about the same thing. So I think it's just the beauty of God working in everybody's life, where they're at.
Exactly. At the beginning of the video, I mentioned that I would tell you how we got here. And we are here in beautiful Puerto Vallarta together. And it was an opportunity for us to come together without all of the distractions of our children and our family members. And so we're here, and we've had an absolutely fabulous time. We have been out on the water, we've gone to the beach, we've made chocolate, we've gone to the botanical garden, and I think it was yesterday where the beauty of God's creation really came alive. We had an opportunity to speak with a young man who gave us a tour, and he is a botanist, and he spent, I think, more time than they normally spend with people explaining to us God's creation of plants. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh yeah, it was amazing. It was amazing tour, and again, as believers, it just solidified God's creation. I guess that's the easiest way to sum it up, because just the vibrant flowers and plants and nature in action, and how everything works in balance.
Yes.
And what we assume as unnatural is very natural. It's just how plants continue to form.
Yeah, and thrive and interact with one another. I think it's a replication of how we should interact with one another. People from different faiths, people from different backgrounds, different cultures. The plants work with each other and thrive, and so should we. So anyway, I hope that this video has helped those who are maybe struggling with how to tell their family they're now Muslim, or interact with their Christian family members or Jewish family members. It can be done, and it can be beautiful. And I think my sister and I have forged a bond in religion, and have learned to really, feed off of one another and our religious beliefs. Anything you want to say in wrapping up?
I think I would say that we can respect each other's viewpoint, and we can accept the choices that we've made
Yes.
in terms of just in life in general, but then also how we feel about our religious journey. And I think through the discussions, we've grown even closer.
Yes.
And we just want the best for ourselves, and we want the best for our families, and just again having that experience yesterday, and it's at the botanical garden. God's creation is amazing, and we should be in awe and just embracing all of the beauty of
Every day.
life.
Every day, for sure. Well, that's it for today. If you have not subscribed, please subscribe to my channel, Islamic Lifestyles. Like and turn on your notifications so that you know when I do another video. Assalamu alaikum.